here, and then I will make a few opening remarks.
But we're going to have them down the line. You're probably going to go. Cindy's probably going to be up at the other one.
I can just call you up if you want, just so that you're close enough. And I'll call you up after this.
Well, it's other control or something, we don't have to sit there.
Welcome. I had hoped that this room would be jam-packed with potential voters, and I'm grateful to all of the candidates who have come here and know that we so appreciate your being here. My name is Candy Birch, and I am the Special Director or President of the League of Women Voters of Johnson County, and I am welcoming you to this school here in the Olathe School District. We decided our meet and greet not for the primaries, but for the general election, we would try to go by school district. And so we're having one tonight here in Olathe, and then we're having another one on Sunday for the Shawnee Mission School District. So it's kind of we're trying to make it as convenient as possible. I love having this event in a school because education is a big issue. It's a big hot topic. I personally work at Olathe South High School as an administrator. Kids and students are near and dear to my heart, so I feel very much at home here, and I'm very happy that we get to use these wonderful facilities. So again, we are here for the League of Women Voters. You may or may not know, I'm hopeful that you do, that what we do is we register voters. I think we might have registered one today. We've gotten almost 1,000, almost 2,000 this year if you count the naturalization registrations as well as the new voters. We've done, I don't know, I would be hesitant to tell you, but I know that we have done just a lot of voter registration drives. And so we're really proud of our efforts this year to register voters, and we know that there's a high interest for that. But the other part of the league is to inform and to educate, and so that is what this is all about. We want to make it possible for our voters to know about their candidates, to know about the issues, to learn about what it is that, what's going on in the legislature, and I can't think of any better way than to have them come and talk to the candidates who want to serve them in the Kansas legislature. You also know that the league cannot and will not and doesn't even want to even think about supporting or opposing candidates, supporting or opposing parties. It really is about issues. It really is about the kinds of things that we study. And we study them hard so that when we do come down on a position, it's because we've done months and months of study. And that kind of brings me to the fact that we have a few displays in the back beyond the district, the Kansas House of Representative district map that's right behind that wall there, as well as the Senate. We also have some people who have been courthouse observers, and so we have people who are very knowledgeable about the courthouse issue, and we have some people who are knowledgeable about the retention of judges issue and how judges are chosen. We don't have a position one way or another about whether to retain or not, but we do have a position on how do we select judges in our area. So I really welcome you to not only talk to your candidates, but also to inform yourself about that. We do have some some merchandise. We have Your Vote Matters, and it's our way of saying get out and vote without saying who to vote for. And so we're very happy to we're happy to have you purchase one of those for $10, and that's a good thing. So the last thing is, I do know that, and I'm guessing that all of the candidates know this, but the voters may or may not know that this is an exceedingly long ballot, and we want to encourage every single person to not only look at their ballot ahead of time by going to jocoelection.org and actually looking at your ballot after they do that, but also to know that once you get past the president, once you get past the U.S. Senator, the U.S. Congressman, once you get past we have the Kansas House of Representatives, the Kansas Senate. We have the issue on the retention of the judges, the new courthouse and coroner's facility, and there's even a Kansas amendment to the Constitution. So lots of things to do, and we really are encouraging everybody who goes to the polls to vote the entire ballot. So again, make use of us. Use us as your resources. So without further ado, what I'd like to do is have each of our candidates come up. I've just arbitrarily decided that the way to go is just alphabetically. And so we're just going to have each one, I'll introduce the name, and then they'll just have up to 2 minutes. They don't have to use 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes to say what they are doing and what they are running for. And then again, after this is over, we will definitely have time for you to talk to each one at their tables and ask the questions. We do have a form, I'm hoping that many of you already have it. It's called the Hot Topic Sheet that we have given out. There are just a number of topics out there. You may or may not care about every single one of them. I just want you to know you may or may not care about them. But they are things to help remind you of what you might want to ask a question about. And there's no one way or the other. It's just a matter of that. So there's a space on there for you to write down what Senate district you're in, what House district you're in, and you're welcome to use that. And I see that Eileen is here. And before I go further, I should tell you, at the end, I'll thank the people who have been so helpful. So let's begin, and let's start with, believe it or not, a former student, Jason Darby.
Good evening. My name is Jason Darby. I am the House candidate in District 78, which is southeast Olathe. It's basically, if you can imagine, a rectangle between I-35, Plum Road, 143rd Street, and 159th Street. It kind of jogs a little bit in and around there, but that's the basic general area. I got involved in this primarily because I see what's going on in Topeka, and I know we need change. I know we need a better way. And I hope I can provide that better way. A way to balance the budget, a way to ensure that education funding is both adequate and equitable, and is fair to the people of Johnson County and the people of the state of Kansas. I want to make Kansas a Silicon Valley for green energy jobs, yet again. I want to improve, use our natural wind and solar energy resources that are currently just sitting idle in this state and use them beneficially and create more jobs. I firmly believe that green energy is the silver bullet to the jobs problem we have in this state, particularly in western Kansas as agricultural prices have fallen. Something else that I want to do, and I haven't really mentioned this too much, but it is something that I do think needs to be said. We currently have a Secretary of State who is engaged in, at best, questionable means of doing his job. And he has been given basically carte blanche to do as he sees fit in search of some hidden voter fraud problem that I can't see at all. And we need to rein that in. And the right to vote is sacrosanct. And the role of the state should be to make it as easy for people to vote as possible. And That's why I like organizations like this that help register people to vote in a nonpartisan way, that get people involved, even if it's just at a local level. So thank you again, and hope for your support.
Our second speaker is Jason Graff.
Hi folks, my name is Jason Graff. I'm the challenger in House District 121. That's Western Olathe, basically west of K7. I'm running. It's a good thing that we mentioned schools. I have 3 children, 2 of whom are school age, a 15-year-old going to Mill Valley High School. I have an 8-year-old stepson attending Rolling Ridge Elementary and a 3-year-old daughter. The school funding cuts that came to Olathe School District hit my family. My son, when he was a first grader, loved his Spanish class, and they cut those classes when he got into 2nd grade. That was the decision that they made. So I had to explain to him why he wasn't able to take Spanish, and it was embarrassing how he would just pop up "hola" to anyone that looked like they might speak a lick of Spanish. My other interests, like Mr. Darby said, I'm very interested in election integrity. I think we can do some things to make sure that our voters have confidence in the election process, and that we are giving them faith in how we're doing politics in Topeka. I don't believe that that partisan politics serves our purpose of making the state work and of making Kansas great again. That sounds so strange saying that. But I'm an engineer by trade. I just want to fix stuff, make it work better, and go home at the end of the day. So I hope you'll let me do that for you. Thank you for your support.
And now Mr. Logan Healy.
Hello, how many of you have had a 7th grader in your life and maybe remember being 12 or 13 at one time? Anybody? Hands? All right, well, my brother last year was a Kansas school teacher. He had 40 to 45 7th grade 12 and 13-year-olds in each of his classes all day. So that was a big reason that got me into this race. My mom's been a school nurse for 29 years in the Shawnee Mission School District. I'm a product of Shawnee Mission Schools. Education is very important to me. I'm running for 3 things. We need to stop Sam Brownback. We need to restore common sense Kansas values, fiscal responsibility, strong public schools, opportunity for all. And then we need to move our state forward beyond Brownback. And I think Jason brought up a great point. Renewable energy is key to our future and moving beyond Brownback. The tech industry would love to move jobs to a lower cost of living area like the Kansas City area and throughout Kansas. But we're not investing in people. They want to see us investing in people before they ship their employees and their families to the middle of the country. So again, I'm running first and foremost because we need to stop Sam Brownback. I believe that we need bipartisan, common sense, moderate solutions to the mess that Brownback has put us in. And to do that, we can't just keep sending Republicans to Topeka. We need balance in Topeka. We need to support Kansas Democrats who support fiscal responsibility, strong public schools, opportunity for all. I'm at that table right over there, and I hope to speak with you later. Logan Healy, loganhealy.com, H-E-L-E-Y. Thank you.
I just realized that I am remiss if I don't tell people what their what they're running for. I just want you to, Jason Darby is running in the 78th district for the House of Representatives. Jason Graff is the 121st district for the House of Representatives, and Logan Healy is the 21st Senate district. So I won't do that. I won't make that mistake the next time. So number 4, the fourth one in our list of alphabetical is Cindy Holscher. And we'd love for you to come. She is running for the 16th district for the House of Representatives.
Good evening, everybody. My apologies, I was running a little bit late tonight. I was actually at another event, and then my daughter and I were on the way here, and I'm sure it had nothing to do with my driving, but we had to stop by my house because she was a little car sick. So, so my apologies for running a little bit late. She's going to be fine, it's all good. But I'm proud and happy to say that I'm a member of the League of Women Voters and have been for several years, actually starting I think right after college back in Missouri. And I have to tell you, your vote matters. That motto that is on that sign is so absolutely true. And I will tell you about my own district. District 16, where I'm running, which is just down the street here, 127th to 95th, Columbus Schweitzer. That district back in 2008 was decided by 2 votes. 2 votes made the difference as far as who went on to represent us. I bring that up at almost every door that I knock on to let them know that in a year when they may be feeling a little bit frustrated, that they still got to get out and vote and do their job to make sure we send responsible people to Topeka, because 2 votes is awfully close. So I thank you, Lee, for having this tonight. I do want to let you know where I am running. Very interestingly, you mentioned schools. It's the crossroads of all 3 school districts. It's a great location. They all 3 come together there. Plus, we have Johnson County Community College. So when we talk about a bastion of education, what a force. And I am so excited about the prospect of going to represent our schools, because in this district currently, our representative has not been doing a good job of representing our public schools. And that is the main reason I'm running, because 2 years ago, my then 11-year-old daughter, who goes right down the street here to California Trail, came up to me and said, "Go fix this." And that's what I hope to do. Thank you.
Running for the Senate District 23 is Spencer Kerfoot.
Hello everyone, thanks for having me here. You are actually just barely north of my district. Just the other side of 127th is Senate 23. So again, welcome. My name is Spencer Kerfoot. The gentleman that I'm running against, his name is Rob Olson. He's not here tonight. Very disappointing to not see him. But you can't blame him. In 2015, just about a year ago, the bill was in the Senate and it was going to stall and die and disappear for good. But a gentleman named Mr. Olson flipped his vote in the literal last minutes of the call and let pass by 1 single vote the largest tax increase in the history of the state. And that was your sales tax just last year. You now pay the highest sales tax on food in the nation. That's a fact. You pay the 7th highest general sales tax in the nation. And that is thanks to not only my opponent, but also the governor. Our budget is in a spiral out of control. In 5 years, we went from $700 million surplus to $900 million in debt. Credit rating, downgraded 3 times. And there's no end in sight. The solution here so far in the last 5 years is, instead of fixing the problem, which is the tax code, we'd rather sweep funds out of roads, highways, and most crucially, schools. I've been talking to many teachers, and it's not a coincidence that class sizes have increased, almost double, in just about 6 years' time. That's, again, not a coincidence. So what I'd like to do, if you would support me, is I'd like to go to Topeka so that we can restore some common fiscal sense and bring our budget back under control so that we can have things like expanded Medicaid, have things like small classroom sizes, and happy teachers that actually have a livable salary. So With these things in mind, I've got a table just back there, and if you'd like to come pick my brain, I'm an open book. So, thank you.
Senate District 21 is, we have Mr. Michael Kerner.
Thank you very much. I'm running as a Libertarian candidate in Senate 21. Just might add, I'm just freshly retired from a 49-year career as an engineer. But my three most important issues in the last year are we have to get medical marijuana legal. As far as education, we cannot keep doing this fighting through courts every year. We can't have a battle every year. So I do have a plan that would eliminate the problem, not one I can do any justice to in my 2-minute time limit. So come to my table and you can hear about it, all right? And as part of that plan, we should be able to reduce, not raise taxes. All right, thank you very much.
And now the House of Representatives for 15th District, Mr. Paul McCorkle.
Sorry, I am not Paul McCorkle. My name is Jill McCorkle, and I'm here on behalf of my husband, Paul. He's very sorry he couldn't be here tonight, but he had a prior commitment in his role as a high school coach. Paul is running for the Kansas House District 15, which includes the central part of Olathe. Paul was born in Independence, Missouri, and he moved to Olathe in 1984. He graduated from Olathe North High School, and as did his oldest daughter. His youngest daughter is currently a freshman there. Paul was inspired to run for office because of his passion for education. Many of Governor Brownback's initiatives have had a negative effect on education in the state of Kansas. Paul has been in the classroom for over 20 years as a regular and special education teacher. He's currently working on his doctoral degree in educational leadership. Paul has taught nearly every grade level and is currently a high school special education teacher. He teaches his students that you can't complain about the state of things if you aren't willing to help find a solution. Paul is willing to help find that solution for education in the state of Kansas. Paul is in favor of repealing the 2012 tax plan to bring us back to the functional revenue stream. Paul's opponent, the incumbent Erin Davis, has supported many of Brownback's initiatives, as shown by her Kansas PTA voting record. Paul will use sound, pragmatic decision-making to implement a sustainable tax policy, invest in growing infrastructure, expand Medicaid, and fully fund education. Paul has received endorsements from the Johnson County Educators, Mainstream Coalition, Kansas National Education Association, Kansas Families for Education, Olathe NEA and AFTA, the Kansas Sierra Club, and the Olathe Professional Firefighters Association local chapter. Paul would welcome the opportunity to discuss with you any issue facing Kansas today. Please contact him if you'd like further information. Thank you. Mr. Don McGuire for Senate District 8.
Hello everyone. I moved out here 20-some years ago so my children could benefit from the Olathe schools. This school is where my children went to school. And right now, my opponent and the governor are doing damage to our educational system. It's been an economic driver and wonderful thing for our children, and it's being degraded by the policies. Now, I don't want to sound self-serving, but I would change those policies. And I think that would be a good thing for our community and a good thing for our state. The only way I see out of this mess is to, look at revenue. And we need more revenue. It's just very simple. Because there are so many needs just besides education, and we need to work on that. So, November 8th, I'll be on the ballot, and my opponent will be on the ballot, and you'll have a choice between Brownback's ally, loyal ally, or somebody who opposes the Brownback policy.
For the Senate District 9 is Chris Morrow.
Well, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event this evening, and also I'd like to say curses because I've had a earworm going through my head all day. Sister Suffragettes from Mary Poppins has been going through my head all day. I realize that Chris Kobach probably thinks it's the Imperial March from Star Wars when the League of Women Voters are around, but I think Sister Suffragettes. Cast off the shackles. So, real quick, because there's only 2 minutes, I'm a third-generation Kansan. I'm currently mayor in Gardner, Kansas. I'm a former city council member before that. The reason I'm running is to try and restore confidence in the great state of Kansas. And the only way that we're going to be able to do that is if we can fix our terribly broken budget. And the only way we're going to do that is if we can level and create a more fair tax policy that creates 3 different legs of the stool so that we're not leaning too heavily on those that are struggling in the middle class. And additionally, I want to see the economy grow. And the only way we're going to see the economy grow and good jobs coming to Kansas is if we educate our workforce. Because the number one thing that site selectors look for when they're trying to decide where they're going to relocate or expand their business is availability of skilled labor. And you don't get skilled labor if you don't have an educated workforce. The second thing they look for is highway access, and if you keep stealing money from the highway funds, it's very likely that they're going to suffer as time goes on. And the last thing they look for is quality of life issues. And two of the 7 quality of life issues were school rankings for K through 12 and availability of post-secondary education. And we are underfunding K through 12, and we are cutting our money from our state regent's budget every time the governor needs to lower the boom on another pot of money. So thank you. I'll yield my time now that the stop signs come up. Maybe I shouldn't have started with the whole Mary Poppins. I could have got a couple more minutes.
The House of Representative 14th District, Mr. Merlin Rain is here to talk with us.
My name is Merlin Rain. I'm the Democratic candidate for House 14. I brought a map over there. Check it out if you'd like to see where it is. My priorities, if elected, are number 1, tax policy, number 2, education, and number 3, health care. As you know, and several have said, the Brownback tax policy is bankrupting our state. It's supposed to create jobs. It's not working. I'd like to fix that in Topeka. Education, we need to provide a quality education for our kids and fund education as required by our Kansas Constitution. Finally, health care should be accessible and affordable. I would like to work on expanding Medicaid in Kansas and fixing canned care. A little bit of background on myself. My education, I have master's degrees in physics and engineering management. During my career at work, I was an engineer at a Lenexa medical and aerospace equipment manufacturer. Therefore, I'm familiar with the needs of business, the need to have a good infrastructure, educated workforce, and a regulatory environment that works for business. My family, I'd like to tell you about. Been married to my wife Beverly, and next year we will celebrate our 50th anniversary. We've raised 2 children here in Olathe. They attended Olathe Public Schools, and graduated with honors. They both attended KU and received advanced degrees. So I'd like today's kids to have the same opportunities that mine have had. My opponent is seeking his third term. He has, I call him a brown-back rubber stamp. These are some examples. He voted for a sales tax increase in 2015. He voted for elimination of the college and career-ready standards. He voted for a tax credit like vouchers for private schools. He voted for elimination of the merit system for judges. He voted for concealed carry on campus. I have endorsements by the KNEA, Sierra Club, Tri-County Labor Council, and Mainstream Coalition. In closing, I've lived and worked in Johnson County for over 40 years. I feel like I understand what the needs and interests of our citizens are. I'll strive for openness, transparency, and bipartisan compromise in the legislature. I hope you'll ask questions to me later and check my website, greenforhouse14.com. Thank you.
The last of the legislative candidates is Ms. Dinah Sykes, and I didn't know, were you planning to speak? Thank you so much. She has sent a representative, Mrs. Abby Felter.
Hi guys, so Dinah couldn't make it today. She had a prior commitment, but she wanted to apologize and said she wishes she could be here. So Dinah is a full-time stay-at-home mother. She loves her kids, she loves her family, but when she noticed everything that was going on in Kansas and in Topeka, she just couldn't sit back idly and watch. And so since then, in the last 16 months, she has walked door to door to over 15,000 houses. She's really getting to know the constituents and listening to what they want. She holds monthly listening meetings, and she continues to have neighborhood meet and greets weekly. She's doing fantastic things out, actually getting to know what the constituents want here in Kansas. Recently, she was asked to sign a pledge to support legislation that hasn't even been written. If she were to have agreed to sign this, she would have gained favor with the establishment in Topeka, but she didn't want to. She wants to put Kansans first, and she wants to put her district first. She, instead of playing these political games, she wanted to focus on changing policies and changing what is going on in Topeka. She wants to change the tax code to make it more fair and equitable and sustainable for Kansans. She wants to address the moral obligations to the core functions of what the state government is supposed to be doing. She wants to stop the state's dependence on debt spending to pay our bills at the expense of the roads and the schools. If she was elected, she would implement policies that would actually fund the highway funds and the schools. The business of the government is not a classroom exercise, and she knows because she's out talking to people. She's out listening to what people want. It's time for well-researched and well-reasoned policies that are going to be implemented pragmatically here in Kansas. And so come vote on November 8th for Dinah. I will be sitting over at that table. I can answer questions as best as I can. If not, I have her contact information. I'd love to get you guys in contact with her.
We also have a race for the Kansas Board of Education. We have two people here who are running, and well, we have a representative and another. So if you would, just alphabetically, we have a representative for Chris Cindric.
Chris is really sorry that she couldn't be here this evening. She's at another engagement right now. I have known Chris for a number of years. She is a 38-year educator. She's been a school psychologist in Shawnee Mission Public Schools, Olathe Public Schools, Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools. She is dedicated to ensuring that we retain a strong licensure procedure for our teachers. She is dedicated to expanding early childhood education. To learn more about her, I encourage you to visit her website. It's Chris, C-H-R-I-S, Cindric, C-I-N-D-R-I-C.com. The district in District 2 encompasses 4 Senate districts, so if you live in Senate District 7, 8, 10, or 11, you are in the State Board of Education District 2. Thank you very much.
And our last speaker will be Mr. Steve Roberts, also running for the Kansas Board of Education.
I'm Steve Roberts. I've been privileged to serve 1 term, almost, on the State Board of Education. I feel like I'm doing my life's work. I'd like 1 more term. If hospitals and medical centers function the way our schools do, the toughest patients, the sickest or the most injured patients would get our weakest, least experienced nurses. There's no way to run schools. You don't have to go to teachers college to be a great teacher.
Disagree.
Of course you do. That's part of the problem. And you want somebody who's going to change things. You walk into the lion's den, tell them the truth. You stick to it. We've made progress. We need to make some more. Kansas leads the world in the success of each student. I was instrumental in making that vision happen. Don't just vote a party. Vote because all of our children matter, regardless of color or religion. I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Again, I am so grateful to every single one of you candidates. I'm going to ask that our visitors will please go to their tables, ask the questions that you want to ask one-on-one, have the opportunity to have a refreshment, talk to us about the courthouse, the retention of judges, get a voting sign. We do know that advanced voting begins on the 19th. So we have some information about where those advanced voting locations are. We have applications for advanced ballots. We have some information about how to make sure that if you mail it in, your ballot actually is counted. So please take advantage of our time here together and let us help you if you have any questions about that. And thank you so much from the League of Women Voters for being here tonight. Thank you so much.